Hey everyone, welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We are here with some great stories this hour. And you know us, I'm Les Jackson. That guy over there is Fred Staab. And we're going to start off, Fred, with something that is rather remarkable to me, maybe to you too. And that is Mini is revealed in affordable Oxford edition. But the big thing, and I'm not knocking the Oxford edition, but the big news there is they're getting ready to get rid of front wheel drive.
Yeah, front wheel drive
There's
has always been the Mini thing, hasn't it?
there's never been a Mini made that had rear wheel drive.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is big
That's
news.
that is big news. I would think maybe all wheel drive, but
Well,
no.
we'll talk about that. It actually goes for BMW as well. So BMW is also getting rid of front wheel drive, and we'll tell you all
Yeah.
about that. And then Ford, over at Ford, the F-150, it typically gets refreshed every 5 to 6 years. Ford's taking a break. They're not going to refresh this
Hmm.
one. They're going to keep it around a bit longer.
That's interesting. This is after Toyota just started outselling them.
Yeah. So what do you
Uh,
make of that?
anyway, we'll talk, and we'll talk tech as well. This is kind of cool. Renault has a way to snuff out EV fires, and it's giving away the technology for free. Now, EV fires are notoriously difficult to put out
Mm-hmm.
because it creates its own oxygen.
Yes, yes, it does. So it's great that they're doing this, and we'll see. We'll tell you a little bit about the technology and how they hope to fight these fires, because it's been so bad in the past that they had to basically submerge cars in fire
Yeah,
in
yeah.
water. So you can't be doing that. So then we're also going to talk about the Petersen Museum, and the Petersen Museum is celebrating the life of Ken Block, and they have a great display of his cars and some of the other memorabilia. So they'll be doing that. That is pretty cool, isn't it?
It is very cool. Anybody that's ever seen Ken drive, and if you never see him driving forward, it's either sideways or backwards or spinning around. A great, great, great stunt driver. Sadly, he was killed at his farm a couple of years ago when a tractor rolled over on him.
No, actually, it
Uh,
was he was on a snowmobile trip, and he was
oh, that's
testing.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I believe you're thinking of someone else on that, but yeah, it was a
yeah, I
snowmobile.
think you're right. And what an ironic thing, this great driver and the snowmobile. Well, anyway, I think it's great that Peterson Museum is going to celebrate him, and I'm sure they've got some great videos.
Yep. Oh, of course, of course. And then you have a story from JD Power, right?
Yeah, we have some JD Power results of vehicle dependability study. Now that this is important stuff. So you need to know how dependable your possible choice
Mm-hmm.
is, and they have very, very reliable studies. So we'll look forward to this a little later.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll talk about that, and then it. We're also going to have an at the wheel review. I had a chance to drive the Atlas, which I think really has gotten enhanced lately. I think it is pretty darn good. So we'll talk about that. And very popular vehicle for Volkswagen. It may be actually their most popular selling vehicle, I think, isn't it?
Hmm. I think it might be. It's always been a good one.
Yeah, and built right here in the USA at Chattanooga, so it's got no worries as far as tariffs go. So we'll have that and more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control. Les, you want to start off and talk a little bit about the Mini, right?
Absolutely. So we'll cover this new Oxford edition
Mm-hmm.
for 2025. They're bringing it back. They did it a number of years ago. It was popular. They tend to bring some of these editions in and out, and it has all the standard features of the Mini Cooper models,
Mm-hmm.
plus other options at no additional cost, which is you can't beat that.
Yeah, and the pricing is
Uh,
good, right?
the yeah, the pricing is good because minis have really gotten pretty up there
Mm-hmm.
in recent years. So the Oxford edition base price is 24,950 for the two door, and 25,950 for the four door, which is, boy, I mean that's a big difference from
This
some of the ones I've seen. We have a mini dealer just a couple miles from me, and all the window stickers are way into the 40s.
Yeah, so you look at this, the closest model to this comes in at least a couple of $1,000s more. So I think this is a deal. I think I would mark this as a deal. And it's available in, I believe, three different colors. And they are blue and white and yellow. I kind of like the blue myself. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this is a great deal or not. I actually look forward to driving one. Cheap and cheerful, as Mr. May, James May, would say. That I think it might actually fit that, right?
Minis are great fun to drive.
But they were cheerful, but they were never cheap. The new ones.
They were never cheap, but I've been in and out of them for, oh boy, what, 25 years now?
Mm-hmm.
And they're always fun. Uh, you just you kind of smile. Um, they've got just everything about it is what would be the good word? Just yeah, cheerful. I guess that's the best word.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal. Well, uh, we will keep you up to date on that because we're always looking to find, cost-effective, fun vehicles. And the big thing is you don't have to spend all that money on these vehicles. You can have
That's
something
right.
that's
And
fun.
yeah, and now they could even be more cheerful
Yeah, they're
because
changing up what wheels drive them, right?
this has never happened to the Mini. It's always been a front-wheel drive car, even when the British made them. And BMW, which of course makes the drivetrain, they're going to rear-wheel drive for this and some of the other cars that they make. And they say they're renewing their commitment to rear-wheel drive, period.
Okay.
So this is very exciting to driving enthusiasts.
Yeah, even the electrics, if they have motors in the front and the back, the rear motor it will be biased towards the rear as opposed to the front, even if there's a motor in the front.
Yes. Now, as BMW says, the death of front-wheel drive BMWs will be drawn out.
A slow and painful
So
death.
it was slow and painful. No, they just don't want to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Now the question is, Fred,
Yes.
do we know you can currently get a Mini with a stick shift?
Uh, that's a good question. I
I know,
believe
I
you
think you
can.
can, but the question is, do you think you'll be able to get one in the all-wheel drive version or in the rear-wheel drive version?
I don't know. I don't know. You and I did that story, and it's been very popular on our social media. We did it last week about
Yeah,
the manuals, state of the manuals, and um, I don't know. I don't know if they will do that. And Also, the big question is, how will they drive those rear wheels? If it's an electric, obviously it's not a big deal. But if it is a gas, and I'm assuming it will be, the way things are going, now you have to have a drive shaft going back there,
You
right?
have to have a drive shaft or a rear-mounted engine.
Well, that's even a bigger change.
Then it would be a then it would be a
Volkswagen.
Volksbimmer. Uh, but yeah, you'd have to have a drive shaft. But we're talking about
That takes room up.
probably a little like a 2-inch drive shaft.
Okay. Okay.
It's not going to take up a lot of room,
What do you
and
think?
a linear engine, linear mount.
This is my theory in life. So everything goes in a circle. Rear wheel drive cars used to be the norm, and then everything went to front wheel
Everywhere.
drive. I'm still not. I know people are saying, "Oh, the weights of the front wheels," and I was never a fan of that, just because I thought rear wheel drive was better. But I always thought it was done basically for cost. We can bolt up the whole
Yes.
engine,
Yes.
transmission, suspension, drivetrain, everything, pop it in. Um, that's why I think it was done. But that's neither here nor there. And make more room in the car.
I think you're right.
So, but now it's a big circle. Everything now they want to go back and do rear wheel drive, just like other things like that used to be standard are now premiums, like a V8. That was the standard
Exactly.
engine for every
So
car.
this is interesting, and the fact that they're going to build the two-door, which is a very small car, is intriguing.
Okay.
So we don't know for sure when Mini is going to get rear-wheel drive,
No, we don't.
but but I don't think it'll be too far away.
No, no, I don't. I don't think it will be too far away either. So we'll talk about it. I mean, it just did go through a refresh. So, what do you make of our next story, Les? As you mentioned, the F-150 was the best-selling vehicle in the U.S. for many, many, many
48
decades.
years.
Right. Now it's been surpassed by the RAV4. And this week it was announced that the current generation of F-150 is not going anywhere. Typically, the F-150 gets a complete refresh, more than a refresh, a reimagination of the F-150 about every
Right.
5 or 6 years. And it's not happening this time. This time, it's going to stick around for a longer period of time. What do you make of that?
I have a theory on this,
All right.
and it's based on speaking to Crystal Coons, who is the director of Coons Ford.
Okay.
She's the daughter of the sister of a friend of mine, Johnny Coons, who I went to high school with, who owned the Ford dealerships.
Okay. A
How,
friend of the
okay,
daughter of someone I knew once when
and they're throwing huge discounts right now on Ford F-150s, part of the President's Day stuff.
right?
Anyway, my theory is they're not selling well. They've got however many days inventory of F-150s that they really thought would be selling. And I think a smart thing to do is don't spend any money refreshing it.
Okay.
Just spend the money to advertise what you got, and get the inventory down and offer discounts, because you know how much it costs to refresh something.
Well,
It
yeah.
sounds simple, but it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Just to put it in perspective, this is the 14th generation of F-150. It was introduced in 2020 for the 2021 model year. It's not all that old, and was
No,
refreshed. This model was refreshed in 2024, so it is still,
it's new.
yeah. You got all the engine options there. You got the drivetrain options. Does it need to be refreshed? I don't think so. I don't know. It's got tons of. They have all that trailering stuff
It's
in there and
everything.
a lot of technology. They have what was that? The scale, or maybe that's in the F250, where you can see how much load you have in the bed and if it's over
Yeah,
the yeah. So
and the
this
power
information
tailgate.
comes from Crane's Detroit business. They told suppliers that production of the 15th generation F150, codenamed P736, has been pushed by a year into mid 2028. And
Yeah.
the
So I mean,
P702 will remain in production until then.
I think they will save literally a ton of money,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and also, if I were buying a truck, and I went to the Ford dealer like a year from now or 2 years from now, I know that what I'm buying, all the bugs have been worked out of it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
It's
with buying.
bulletproof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The only time I think you don't want to buy a model that has been on the um, build so long that the dies have worn out for the
That's right.
stamping out the fenders. Also, sometimes what they'll do is, as the model ages, they'll decontent them some to either make more profit or try to lower the price. I remember that happening on certain cars. And I had a dealer, and he showed me everything that was taken out of the new ones,
Yeah.
which made me buy one from that a leftover, which I was like, well, I actually want some of the stuff that they took out, So, and some of it was weird things like the covers for the seat tracks and an emblem here or there. So it's funny what they do. They might, you think it would, what is that going to save, like 20 cents? But I guess it
Well,
adds
but
up.
it does, and but when you multiply, a dollar savings by 4 million trucks, you're saving a lot of money.
Right, right. So um, I'll ask a bigger question. We heard that Ford wants to do extended range electrics. Does this mean it's the end of the Ford Lightning? The Lightning
You
doesn't
know,
sell well. They have a
it's not
lot of
selling
money on
well.
the hood.
Not
D-
selling well.
I wonder, I thought about that. Would they just eliminate that and do an extended range electric vehicle instead?
I
Smaller
think
battery,
there's no reason to continue the Lightning as it is.
and they could sell it for less. Smaller battery.
Yep,
You do the smallest gas engine you can put in there, maybe even a 4-cylinder. I don't know, whatever. And it would be a lot cheaper, wouldn't it?
it would. Everybody's rethinking things at the moment
At a very high
in
rate
the
of
industry.
speed.
Yeah, a lot of thinking is going on, and a lot of numbers crunching.
Yeah,
But I think
exactly.
this is smart. Just and by the way, and this is an aside, but it affects Ford. When I was at the car dealership the other day, about every other vehicle in there, including all the trucks, is white.
Yeah,
And I'm noticing everything to apparently uh, we used to laugh about silver and gray being
right.
the only color you could buy anything. And now it's white. It's just
Well,
you
you pay $500 extra for color.
that's true
White, you don't pay anything for, white or black.
unless it's a opalescent white.
That's true. That's true. So.
Guess who paid for that? Um,
Yes, I'll pay more.
sure, I'd love to pay more money.
Yeah, can I add $500 or $600 to my? Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
hey, that's they used to call that mother of pearl.
mother, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I
Um,
agree. I don't feel bad about buying it, but hey, let's talk a little tech, shall we?
yes.
electric car fires. This is a big, big problem. They literally, some fire departments use blankets to put them out, like a heavy duty fireproof blanket. I've seen some dig a pit and put the car in it, and pour water on it. Well, Renault has a proprietary technology to stop EV fires quickly. And it is really kind of like an access port to the batteries. It's like an adhesive thing, stopper, that when you put a fire hose in there at high volume, I mean, literally a high volume fire hose could tip a car over. So it's not.
Oh, yeah.
This blows out and allows the water to go directly into the battery compartment and flood the battery compartment. Very much like what they do, on battleships. If there's a fire,
Right.
they flood the powder decks, right? And that submerges it, and it can't go off then. They have this as a port near the charge port, and basically you would put the hose there, and I guess it has some kind of pipe, almost like a gas filler, that would go down into this. And they're making this free. This technology, what they've come up with,
Yeah.
to every
They're
manufacturer.
this is the way companies should do things.
What about
Um,
would this become a standard, a safety standard?
a
I mean,
safety, it should. I mean, it wouldn't if you had a fire department in your city or your state.
hmm
Wouldn't you demand this as this is available technology, you have to use it.
yeah. I mean, it seems like a great way to just put it out, and that floods it with water, and then that's the end of it. And they use less water. I mean, some of
10
these are,
times less. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's a good idea, and I think it should
Well, it
be,
is. Because you're putting the water in tremendous volumes of water where the source of the heat is,
yes, because otherwise
and
you're just
that
spraying it around it,
yeah,
really, right?
that's right. Whereas an EV battery, it's like magnesium fires that you need. It's a tremendously hot fire. So when you're spraying it with water, it just turns into steam.
Right, right.
If you can, just essentially immerse the battery in its own package, you get rid of the heat.
Yeah, I think it's
It's a
real
great
interesting.
idea.
I
Great
think it's
idea.
real interesting, and I think it's something that we will eventually see. I think we'll see it become the standard. I don't know. It seems pretty easy to me. It's like an adhesive stopper and a tube that you put it in.
Yeah,
Some
I
people
mean,
said
so
maybe they
simple.
shouldn't put it near the charge port because somebody will do something with
That's
it.
right.
You know,
How simple?
I want one of those big arrows like they used to have on the planes in case of
Yeah,
emergency. You know,
they were there for a good reason.
to blow the canopy off to get you out, right? I believe that's
Yeah.
what they were there
Uh,
for.
the space shuttle actually has, if you see it in person, um, which I have a number of times at the Smithsonian, it's got like a thing about a foot square,
Right.
and it's deliberately designed to be thin material, and you can bash a hammer or a hatchet through it
hmm
to get to the stuff that opens the big thing at the top, or also an emergency hatch.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's like
yeah,
drag cars. They have to have a switch at the back to turn off the battery. So if the thing goes upside down, that's the first thing they run over and they shut off the battery, which is great.
yeah. I think Delta Airlines is installing that from here on out.
This side up. Oh, I should have said that.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
that's this side up.
Land with wheels down. But
That's I'm very impressed with that landing and
yeah,
survival.
Yeah, that I think that was just like a wind blast right at the last
Well,
second,
it
and
was.
they and the
You can tell he was
wingtip dug
crabbing,
in.
and 45-mile-an-hour wind just lifted the lift wing. There's nothing you can do. You're on the ground.
No, it's too close to it.
Can't
Yeah.
control your way out of it.
Yeah, no, you can't do
It's
anything.
wonderful,
I'm just glad no one got hurt.
fast acting
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Interesting though, total side note. They told people take your stuff and get out. They never tell you to take
They
your
never
stuff.
say that. Yeah,
I mean,
don't take your stuff. Get out.
I will say this. Whenever I fly, I wear a cotton shirt and jeans, cotton jeans. It's almost like a
Yeah,
very lightweight fire suit. I don't wear
right.
polyester socks.
No, no
And
polyester.
I have leather shoes or sneakers, and I keep them on the whole flight because if
Yep.
something bad happens, I'm not going to be walking in bare feet. And I don't want to put my feet on that carpet anyway. Not on directly on it.
No,
But
I'm the same way.
yeah, you have a little protection to get out to give you it's not like you're wearing a funny car suit with that's 10 layers thick that where you have
No.
you can be on fire for 10 seconds and you're okay, but it's something. It's something. But don't not wear shoes because it's just
Yeah, please
nasty.
don't. Please don't. Yeah.
It's nasty, and frankly, you might need your shoes to get out quickly. And you know me, like
Especially
it when we
lately.
get starting to land, I'm already getting my stuff organized so I can move out. That's it's you don't land and then stuff. Oh, I guess I should start putting my stuff away. But anyway, hey, you have a story about Ken Block. I'm lucky enough to have met him and actually rode with him a little bit at SEMA. But
Yes.
if people
I
don't
remember.
remember Ken Block, he did these great Gymkhana videos. They were incredible videos that showcased his driving. And now Petersen has a display at Petersen Museum, right?
They sure do. It's called People's Champ, The
Mm,
Impact of Ken Block, which pays tribute, as they should, to he's a real icon, and he was a real icon. It's now open in the Meyer Gallery at the museum. If you ever
hmm
get out to LA, go to the museum.
It's incredible.
Uh, Spectacular museum, and he was a great racer, entrepreneur,
TC
creative guy,
shoes. Yeah.
and he was his his driving stunts are legendary,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely legendary.
I just got to ride with him out in the front yard of SEMA, I'll call it the parking lot.
Yeah,
And he's looking sideways at me. He goes, "Okay, you ready?" And go, "Yeah." And he's holding back on the handbrake. I think it was a little Ford Focus RS, maybe. I think it was. And he
it
just
was. Yeah, I
is
think
looking
it
at
was
me. He
that
goes,
600 horsepower Ford Focus.
"Yes." And he
Yep.
goes, "Okay, are you ready?" He's looking at me sideways. And as he keeps looking at me, he lets his hand out, and the parking brake goes off, and we like slam back, and we went
Yeah.
right down. Like there's a crowd in front of us. I was like, okay, this is bad. We're going really fast. And then he
We're
pulls
going to
that
kill
brake,
people.
and it goes
Yeah, and
completely
everything is
sideways.
up. Yeah, everything is up, hand high.
Yes, and
Um,
the car went like left, and I was like, okay. And then we started spinning and spinning. I was like, I'm just gonna close my eyes at this point because
oh boy, how could, yeah, that's right. I hope
you
I
would
don't
not have
get
liked
to.
it.
No, no, no. And he had the Hoonicorn. He had his business was kind of called Hoonigan,
Right,
and the Mustang 65 Mustang RTR Hoonicorn.
right. It was a
Um,
licensed body.
yeah, and he actually that car was in the Gymkhana 7 Wild in the Streets of Los Angeles, and Climb Kana, Pikes Peak Climb, the Gymkhana
Yeah.
10 Ultimate Tire Shredding Tour.
Yeah.
The guy was just phenomenal. I think
Yes.
every modern stunt driver in Hollywood learned from him.
Yeah. Interesting guy for sure.
Just and a nice guy.
Yeah. Nice guy. Nice guy.
Yeah.
But it's a great. If you're out in L.A., check that out. It's a wonderful museum. You can even do the tour of the vault, which is downstairs, the cars that are
Right.
not on display,
Right.
which is basically an underground parking garage, but it's filled with all kinds of cool stuff.
Filled with one-of-a-kind stuff. And you can certainly go to YouTube and look up Ken Block, and you can see endless
Mm-hmm.
videos of his driving tricks
Yep. Yep.
on just really impressive stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the JD Power dependability study. This is always a good study to go in and look at if people are jumping into a new vehicle. And we'll give you some of the takeaways of this. They say, JD Power says, vehicle dependability is still suffering due to pandemic aftershocks. I mean,
Yeah.
folks, that's a long time ago now.
That's 6% increase in problems this year per 100 vehicles,
Wow.
which is 12% worse than a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
going the wrong way,
Yeah.
resulting in an industry average of 202 problems per 100 vehicles made. Now, this doesn't mean they're big problems.
No.
It can be anything from a loose fixture somewhere to a scratch on the paint or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or big things. If it's a Tesla, it's everything.
Oh boy.
And
Okay.
I'm saying that purely to be helpful.
Okay. Well, let's look at some of the key findings of this 2025 study from JD Power, right? Problems related to software defects increase.
Yep.
Android Auto, Apple CarPlay connectivity remains a top problem in the industry for the second consecutive year, increasing from 8.4 problems per 100 from 6.3. Built-in Bluetooth systems and Wi-Fi are among the top problems related to software defects this year, while software defects comprise only 9% of the total problems. I find that things have gotten a little bit better with connectivity. Occasionally what I get is like it doesn't remember the phone, like you've connected to it, and then you stop somewhere, you get in, and then it doesn't remember the phone.
Now, you would agree, though, about 10 years ago, when we would get into cars and pair our phones, I would say half of the cars, pairing it was a real nuisance. You started getting angry. They just wouldn't pair.
Yes. Yes.
And you had to finally go through instructions, and then, then it would pair, and you had no reason. You had no idea why.
Yes. Yes.
But that's not happening, really.
It's not happening. I
Anymore.
think one of the things that might be confusing to people is you have voice system in the car to do things in the car, right?
Right.
Like, let's say you're listening to Sirius radio or your AM radio in the car. Thankfully, it looks like there will continue to be AM radios in cars. So, but you're connected to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay for navigation, because that is the navigation in most vehicles now. You're lucky you have built-in navigation, which was, I think, a bit of a surprise for you, right? Which is good.
Yes, it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you push voice, the button on the dashboard, unless you say, "Hey Google," it's probably the system in the car is going to respond. So that to
Exactly.
me, even for someone that's into tech and that is still confusing. I could see how someone could get real confused with that, you know?
The other thing that I've been learning, because I talk to so many people that are having problems with, mostly with the telematics, and I finally come to the conclusion, most of these people haven't bought a new car in the last 10 years.
Right.
And they just have a very difficult time figuring out how it works.
Yes.
And and that's confusing to them. We're lucky, we've experienced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things consistently,
Yes.
so it's nothing new.
No, and that's the thing. And I don't know whether the dealers are not training them. Maybe they don't know
Yeah.
themselves. But once you figure it out, it's pretty great. I like the Android
Yeah.
Auto, Apple CarPlay, Google
Oh,
Maps.
it's so simple.
It works great. You set it up in your house, and then there it is. So
But
other problems: personal device integration falls short.
right.
Smartphone technology, as we were talking about, over-the-air updates provide automakers to overcome this. I see a lot more over-the-air updates. Typically in press cars, I don't do it because I don't want it to brick somewhere.
No.
But battery electric vehicles get better as plug-in hybrid vehicles get worse, which I hear a
That's
lot of
weird.
people talk about this. What is their problem with plug-in hybrid vehicles? I'm not sure. I mean, you charge the battery or you don't charge the battery.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. You're using a 120-volt outlet,
Mm-hmm.
nothing fancy or extremely high energy.
Mm-hmm.
What are they? Are you doing something wrong, or
I don't know.
what is it?
I don't know, but I've heard that. I've heard that before. And then new models launches continue to struggle. Of the 27 new models launched in 2022 model year, only 4 have performed better than the segment average for dependability in 2025. New models launched in
Hmm.
2022 averaged 241 problems per 1,000 in the 2025 study, whereas carryover models have 196 problems per 100 and perform better in all 9 vehicle categories. Good news for Ford if they're sticking with that F150 and not.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
I've heard people say, why do they have to redesign everything and put all the buttons in different places and that? They don't like that. They would like it to be the same,
yeah.
you know. But why? Because they change things because they have people that are on staff to
Uh,
change
They
things.
they it's got to look different.
Yeah.
Um, s- s-
So,
that's the way.
how
You
about
know.
highest ranked brands? What are some of the high ranked?
Here we go. No surprise. Lexus highest. Cadillac is second, and Porsche is third. Now these guys consistently stay at the top. Lexus 140 problems per 100, which is good, by the
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Down to Porsche 186, and then Buick uh, is the highest in the mass market segment with 143 per 100. That's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
Mazda's close with 161, better than Toyota at 162.
Yeah. That is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
S-
Toyota's top overall, of course. General Motors. we, we've been talking about all the problems going on at General Motors, but they've received the most model level awards with 6 this time.
Why do you think that is?
That's surprising.
I don't know. I don't know why. I
Yeah,
mean, do they not? Is it they're not bringing out as much new technology?
I don't know. But the Cadillac XT6, the Corvette, the Silverado,
Yeah.
Silverado HD, Tahoe, and Acadia.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then
Interesting.
you have a surprise following that, and a bit of irony,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
that's Nissan.
Yeah, Nissan.
I,
Yeah, it certainly is interesting. As I say, I don't know what's going to happen with Nissan, but they do okay. And it's
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. They've received 2 model level awards for Nissan Kicks and Nissan Murano. So,
Good products.
but
What are
but
you going
who
to do?
what are you going to do? Who knows? Who knows? Hey, let's do an at the wheel review. I have a at the wheel review of what I believe to be Volkswagen's one of their most popular models, and it is the Atlas. The Atlas, of course, is their large SUV, 3-row, and it is, I think, one of their most improved products, frankly, because they have, when it started out, I wasn't too impressed with it, frankly. I thought it was the interior didn't match up to the price point, which in a case of our tested vehicle is about $53,000. Um, this model is the Atlas R line SEL, and it's nicely equipped. This is the top of the range model in gray on the outside, which is used to be the standard the standard color for the press vehicles. But it's a big vehicle. It is a big, high hips, high hood, pretty impressive on the outside. One of the things I like is the lighted VW logo, which is great. But there's a thing out back that I really don't like, and I bet you can guess what it is, Les. I do love the rear lighting, the light bar that goes across the.
Does it have something to do with the seat
Nope,
fold
it's the
down?
exhaust. It's the fake exhaust ports. There's
Oh,
the
well,
exhaust pipe on the bottom, and there's the fake exhaust port. On the inside, it was great. It had black leather with silver overtones, silver piping, and then that silver kind of look in the perforated area with the crosshatch pattern. I liked it a lot. Here's where the interior gets better. They've got some kind of almost Volvo-esque wood on the door panels. Everything is soft. There's stitching. There's perforated leather on the doors. And even the water bottle holder, you could put a 1 liter bottle of your favorite beverage in there and it's lit. Just the look of it is so much better. There's the stitching on the dash. There's that, as I said, Volvo-like wood grain. There is piano black. They've elevated this. Unfortunately, they have the weird controls with the defroster front and back over on the left-hand side with the headlights. Thankfully, they put on more buttons on the steering wheel, which is good, and did away with sliders and haptic stuff. I like that. You got the heated steering wheel. You got the view button. You get this little stubby shifter, which is the same shifter you would find in things like the GTI. And out back, we opted for the $695 captain chair upgrade. And these things are great. They fold flat. And look, there's a real third row seat for adults. You're not sitting with your chin up above your head. I mean, your knees up above your head. Rear seat passengers get heated seats and HVAC controls, which is nice. Down below, you've got a inverter for 110 and a couple of USB-C outlets. The seats fold flat. That's an articulated lower seat, and I like that a lot when seats fold flat. Great storage when all the seats are folded flat. You even can throw some things in between the seats. Out back, you got the amp for the stereo system, and underneath, you've got, on the inside now, a temporary spare, which is really nice, and jack. You don't see that much. But look at the room you get when everything is folded flat. That is a huge space with a flat floor. Overall, the big standout on this model for 2025, which really got a refresh, a complete refresh in 2024, but the 2025 model, the interior is the standout. They all come with the same 269 horsepower engine, which is a 2-liter turbo with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Did a good job of moving it around. It's a big vehicle for a small engine, but it does okay. And that is it. That is the only engine you can get in no matter what grade you get of the Atlas. This is the 4Motion, as I said, the SLE Premium R-Line with 4Motion. And it's a great-looking vehicle. I mean, I think the reason it's popular is it gives everyone what they want in an SUV. The upright seating, the high hips, the bold front styling where it's a big flat hood to look over. And it's kind of a pleasing shape. It reminded me of some of the larger SUVs of years gone by from Volkswagen, and I think people like that. Big front grille, as I say, the lighted Volkswagen logo is, I think, a nice plus. R-Line basically means 21-inch wheels and some other things. It's more like a trim package, it's not like a performance package in any way. Basically wheels, trim, that's what the R-Line package brings in. So let's talk price. MSRP, and basically our one thing our one additional thing is the $695 captain's row seats in the second row, I should say. So our total MSRP was $53,900. Destination charge $1,425. Total is $55,325. Nice looking vehicle, family hauler, feels robust. The interior, hats off to them because they've upgraded that. I remember these things when they came out. It was just a sea of hard, overly textured plastic, which I was kind of off-put. I just thought it was terrible. Just get rid of those fake exhaust ports, please.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. It's just my thing.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to give color matched bumper?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Anything like that. Put a piece of chrome there if you have to. I like the seats though. I thought it was unique with that silver overtone.
Yeah.
And I said, the Volvo wood. Some of the holdovers, they got those big pedals, the big dead pedal, and the treatment on the gas and the brake. But even that, the plastic used on the lower part of the door has been improved, I would say, because before it was that plastic that's scratched and hard and kind of cheap looking. They've done a lot better. Infotainment system worked fine. It's still the weird sliders underneath for the HVAC system. I wish they would change the placement of this. They've done this on the GTI and other vehicles in the lineup. I just kind of like the older type setup there. But hey, someone thought it was a good idea. 6 USB-C ports, 45-watt fast charging. That is the new cup holders, and it's got a lot of them. Great vehicle though. Great vehicle. Transmission did well. Just wish some of the controls would go back to knobs. And I really like the flat folding seats. That's one of my pet peeves. I hate when they don't articulate the seat cushion, the lower seat cushion, and a real usable third row, which normally they're just a jump seat. But I know you like the passengers get heated seats, right? That's when
Absolutely. I noticed. I noticed that you're listening to Shabuzi.
That just happened to be. I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I just somehow I don't see you singing along with them.
No, that was just there. I wasn't really listening to it. It just happened
to be on.
Be on there. I didn't. I was more concerned about getting the at the wheel review done. But
yeah.
I like to see the tire inside too. It's not hanging on the bottom. Not a full size spare,
yeah.
it's good you have one. But look at the room you get. That's incredible room.
That's a heck of a lot of room. It really is.
Yeah, yeah.
Station wagon, Fred. Station wagon.
Oh, They'll never call it that. They'll never call it that. Volkswagen. I'm sorry. Volvo got rid of one of their another one of their station wagons in their lineup. What's interesting here is it kind of looks like a crossover when you look inside the engine bay because the engine is so low. And this is on the MQB platform, which underpins just about everything. But when I see an engine sitting very low in there, it reminds me of the early days of crossovers because they basically took a car and put a higher body on it, so the engine would sit lower. But popular model won't be tariffed because it is built in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Right here.
Yeah, and
there in Chattanooga.
Yeah, so there you have it. 269 on horsepower. This is a pretty big machine. I don't have the weight on it, but that's not a whole heck of a lot of power for this. But I didn't have any complaints, really. I really didn't. I don't think we have. Yes, I do have the weight. Curb weight 4,491 pounds.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Chunky.
That's up there.
Yeah.
That's the same weight as a 67 Thunderbird.
Well, there you go. Then in the sense, hey, you couldn't carry that many people in a 67 Thunderbird, could you?
That's very true.
So I guess it's better then. So there you have it. Popular vehicle, Volkswagen Atlas. And of course you can get the Atlas Sport, which is sort of like the Atlas, but they chopped the back to make it look sort of like a coupe. So you lose some of the space. I think that's too high a price of style for style, really.
Yeah.
I would probably stick with this one. What do you think of the price, though? Not terrible, really, for a big
It's not bad, actually.
Big 3-row. It's got a modern feel. I didn't feel that, even with 269, I felt the horsepower was okay. I like the rear taillights. I'm a big fan of as much lighting as you can get on the back of a vehicle. I'm always bothered by either fake exhaust ports or tiny taillights without enough lighting on the back, because I think people need to see you. And it's got a reflective strip down below, too. Just get rid of those dumb exhaust ports. It just bothers me. I think I would have it something fabricated, a piece of metal to go over them.
Well, yeah.
Is that going too far? I don't know. People have.
It's going a little far.
Yeah.
It's even farther than I would go, and you know that I have actually built things just to change something that
it's like a fake hood scoop. I hate fake hood scoops or stick-on ports on the side, or like fake side exhaust. I hate that.
That
if you're gonna put a pipe on the side of your car, then make sure there's potential for exhaust to go through it.
That's right.
Or I don't know. That's just me.
People can dress up their cars any way they like. This is America.
This is America. Yeah, I want my ports and, if it was Dave Kindig, he would fabricate the exhaust, cut out those ports, build them out of billet material. And he would say, like, why'd they do that? And, $10,000 later, you'd have exhaust ports that worked and looked really cool.
Lovely. Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think? Does it bother, I'll ask our audience, what do you think? Does it bother you when there's fake stuff on vehicles like that? Fake style stuff? It doesn't fake anyone out because you see the exhaust coming out the bottom, I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum, but hey, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Cruise Control. It's time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.